Wealthy businessman Thomas Hunter returned home later than usual. The reception he was invited to ended earlier than he expected. All this time, he listened to the monotonous speeches of his partners, whose words were drowned out by the crystal glasses and the rustle of expensive fabrics. The marble halls, the dazzling chandeliers, the music and the polite smiles. Everything seemed to him like an empty, dead theatre, where everyone played a role and not a single sound was real. He dreamed only of peace and quiet. Entering the penthouse located high above the bustling city, Thomas threw off his tie with relief, feeling the rest of the stress of the day flow away with him. The apartment's huge windows reflected the lights of the metropolis, and the cold interior was more reminiscent of an exhibition hall than a home in which a child is growing up. He wanted to pass unnoticed, without disturbing anyone, but suddenly he felt someone's hand on his face. In the semi-darkness before him stood a young maid, Ashley, recently hired by the agency staff. She looked scared, but there was determination in her eyes. She gestured for him to be quiet and listened to something inside the apartment. Thomas was puzzled until he realized the reason. His little son, Oliver, was walking down the corridor, staggering and barely keeping his balance. The boy moved slowly, with his eyes closed, as if in a strange world. Ashley watched his every step, afraid that he would get too close to the stairs or the glass wall. She said that this happened every night. Oliver would get up and wander around the house in a state of sleepwalking. The girl stayed after work voluntarily, without orders or pay, only to protect the child from danger. Thomas watched as his son stumbled forward, then groped his way toward an invisible figure as if seeking protection. For the first time, the businessman saw how lost and fragile his boy looked. All this time he believed that expensive toys, the best schools and personal security guards would give Oliver everything he needed. But the truth was different. The child grew up alone in the cold walls of a penthouse filled with wealth, but devoid of warmth. Ashley quietly returned the boy to bed, and Thomas, unable to look away, felt how the usual armor of indifference was crumbling. The girl's words about how closeness, rather than gifts, was more important to children were not a reproach, but just a simple truth that he was afraid of. She hurt him more than any accusation. As Oliver sleepily reached for him, clutching his shirt, Thomas felt that for the first time in many years, he was needed by someone not as a source of money or power, but as a father. His heart sank painfully from the realization that all this time he had been close, but at the same time infinitely far away. That night, for the first time, he held his son in his arms and held him for a long time, listening to his even breathing. The city outside the windows lived its own fast-paced life, but inside the penthouse there was silence. Thomas realized it was time to start all over again, not as an impeccable businessman, not as the owner of a luxurious life, but as a man whose main purpose is to be a father. What an amazing story. Dear friends, if you liked the video, give it a like and subscribe to the channel. There's still a lot of interesting stuff ahead.